Hello, this is Emily, and today I am going to be talking about all the books I read in the month of July, which is not that many because I had a really crappy reading month and a lot going on, which is part of the reason why I'm not really put together right now because I just didn't have the energy to really do anything. I guess I'll just briefly go over what's been going on in my life and why I haven't been reading as much this past month. First, I moved back in with my dad because of financial reasons, and rent has continued to keep going up in my town, and with me being single income, I could not afford to stay where I was living unless I got like 3 more jobs, and already working 40 hours a week, I did not have time to get more jobs just to make ends meet. So I decided to move back in to help save money and eventually try purchasing a house when the market looks better. It's just right now I'm in limbo, so getting used to living with my dad again, having that other person in the house and all the noise is kind of so because I'm where I was before. I always had peace and quiet to read whenever. Now I don't have peace and quiet as much anymore, so that's been an adjustment. Also, I've had a lot of personal stuff going on with losing 2 family members within weeks. I lost my uncle and my grandmother. My grandmother I literally just lost Wednesday, so it's been kind of tough that way, and just dealing with that, dealing with stress, all that. I just haven't wanted to read any, so I only read 8 books this month, which we're going to go ahead and get on into that video instead of listening to me, whine about my life, because I'm sure no one really cares about that. They're only here for the books. So we're going to skip over that and jump on into what I read and kind of what I thought of each book I did read. So the first book I read this month kind of started off on a sour note, and that was The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. I only gave this book 2 stars. This is a mystery where I guess we dealt with I even forgot the main character's name. That's how much I did not like this book. Emma was a camper, and she was rooming with 3 older girls, her first summer camping, and they all ended up disappearing. So she's kind of lived with her whole life dealing with that, and then she gets invited to come back to Camp Nightingale as a art counselor, and so we kind of see everything unfold, looking back on what actually happened the night that the 3 girls disappeared, along with Emma and all her mental stuff. And I just honestly, I thought the plot was kind of stupid. The way some of the stuff was revealed, like some of the stuff was happening, was just kind of off the wall, like, is this even possible type stuff. So that's why I only gave this book 2 stars. This was definitely a miss for me, and it was a horrible read, so I did not enjoy it at all. The next book I completed was Supernova Era by Cixin Liu. Sorry if I butchered their name. I'm not the best with pronouncing Chinese characters. However, I gave this book, I believe, 3 stars. It's dealing with how all the adult population is about to die because Earth was hit with high levels of radiation, leaving only the youth there to survive. And this was alright. It was kind of like in the middle for me. I think I gave it like 3 stars or a high 2.5 stars. Can't quite remember off the top of my head. I just felt like, again, some of the aspects in this was unbelievable, like the whole radiation aspect, how the children are less susceptible to radiation and were able to bounce back without implications. However, all the animals, which were even smaller than the children, ended up dying and stuff. So I was kind of like, on the science standpoint of this, I kind of felt some of the stuff was unbelievable. But I did find the story kind of like inspiring, how the kids kind of had to grow up and figure stuff out, or they were going to die because there were no adults left. So they had to figure stuff out on their own and how to survive in a world without adults, and kind of seeing their mental standpoints in that, and how a lot of kids just thought, oh, this is just a big playground now, and realizing is that going to work and stuff like that. So it was kind of interesting on that standpoint. However, the scientific standpoint, I did find some very big plot holes and stuff unbelievable on that side of things. The next book was I think, my only 5-star read of the month. And that was The Blood Mirror by Britt Weeks. This is the 4th book in the Lightbringer series, where we're continuing on following Gavin and Kip, and this war that they're in the middle of. Don't want to give too much away because obviously 4th book, so everything else leading up, I don't want to spoil. However, there are some pretty big reveals here, like the identity of Kip's actual father, minus who was suspected as the father. We finally had confirmation of who the father was, along with some other stuff. Like, I love how the first book's title played a big part in the reveal here in The Blood Mirror. So look up the title and you'll know what I mean if you've read the series, what's going on, and what I mean by that. But really love the story, and I'm excited to finish out with the final book, which is The Burning Light. It's right behind me, so I was like, what's the title off the top of my head? So I'm looking forward to finishing out this series, and I've really enjoyed this whole series so far reading it. So the next book I only gave 3 stars. It was kind of in the middle read for me, and I think part of that is because it's young adult contemporary, and I've kind of outgrown that genre, so I am a little bit stricter and harsher when I read those, because some of the stuff I do find myself rolling my eyes out with the way stuff's handled. And that is Noah Can't Even by Simon James Green. This is following Noah, who's probably one of the unluckiest kids alive with everything going on in his life, and then one day at a party, Harry kisses him and throws this whole world open of him questioning his sexuality and all that. And I really did enjoy the story as a whole. However, some of the stuff I did find kind of eye-rolling. That's why I only got 3 stars, though I do see that there is a sequel, so I'm kind of interested to see what plays out in the sequel after how this one ended and how this new relationship's going to work between Noah and Harry. So I'm kind of excited to looking forward to that. However, this was still only a 3-star read for me. The next book I read was Gintama Volume 10. I believe I only gave this one 4 stars. I don't have my actual book with me. It's actually at the place where I'm dog sitting right now. I left that back there where I keep track of my daily reading progress and all that. So I'm just trying to remember everything off the top of my head while I film this real quick while I ran home to grab some stuff. But Gintama Volume 10 was really enjoyable. Love the story arc's continuation, and some of the one-shots in here were hilarious. I found myself laughing a lot as usual, and I'm definitely continuing on with this series because it's a great read, and maybe one day I'll rewatch the whole anime, because that's what really got me into the mangas, was watching the whole anime series, because it's hilarious. The next book I read was another 3-star read for me, and that's the Dragon Reborn by Robert Jordan. This is the 3rd book in the Wheel of Time series. And, I mean, it was alright. I did find myself kind of zoning out at points. I was listening to this on audiobook, and I think because it focused on a bunch of the other characters and not more of my favorite characters, I just wasn't really caring much with the story during their part, so I was zoning out. So some parts I was like, huh, what happened? But I do plan on continuing on with the series, because I do want to see how the stories still unfold with my more favorite characters. It's just, I guess, when you have a high fantasy with massive characters, you know, you like some characters more than others, and so some of the stories you don't care much for when they focus on their viewpoints over other characters' viewpoints, which was the deal here. So the next book I read was Harvest Moon by Sam Burns and W.M. Fox. This is the 2nd book in the Malibu Rising series, and I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. However, I couldn't quite give it 5 stars because there was still some stuff I didn't care much for in here, like the miscommunication between our 2 male leads, and the story really irked me. Like, just talk to each other instead of just assuming crap. And then this whole thing that y'all could have had a romance started like years ago, you spent the whole time miscommunicating and took so long to have the actual romance start. So that was one of my biggest irks here, which is why I bumped it down a star. I just thought that was like a weak point. I think there's weak point for the characters was like the main plot point that drove this story along. However, I do like that there was some stuff revealed. Like, we had some hints on what might be causing the condition among the Omega Wolves. So I'm excited to see how that's going to be explored in the third book, along with Aspen, I think that's his name, his return to the Grow Pack, and how that's going to play out with the third book with him coming back now that his brother has become Alpha. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen there, and can't wait to pick up the third book in the series. The final book I read this month was Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. I really enjoyed the narrative style. I did listen to this on audio, which I think is why I enjoyed the book so much, because the narrator here was superb and really brought the story to life. I loved seeing kind of the alternate timelines as it played out leading up to the night of the party itself. So how we saw stuff in the past play up to what's happening in the present, following Riva's children. Sorry if I mispronounced their last name. But really strong characters, and I love the sibling dynamics between these guys, and great read overall, and a nice way to wrap up my reading month. So that's all for today's video. I'm not really feeling very peppy today. I've kind of just been forcing myself to film this. I just haven't felt like doing much with everything going on. So sorry if this was more of a vlog type of video for those that actually do watch my videos, which is far and few between. But hopefully August looks better for me reading wise, and I do find some more enjoyable reads versus this past month was just a struggle altogether, and haven't felt much like reading. But I guess that's it for today's video. If you did enjoy, click the like and subscribe button down below, and I hope to see you guys next time, and hopefully I'll be in a more peppy mood.